Hey y'all, and thank you for joining us today to Cook with Chef. Because of the spread of the pandemic and the negative economic impact it's had, people all throughout our nation and the world are suffering from food insecurities. Chef Software has partnered with Amazon Web Services, Veracity Solutions, and EBT to help out by raising funds for World Central Kitchen, an organization that has been helping to feed people in need for over 10 years throughout the world. Many of you are familiar with Chef Software as an organization that provides continuous automation solutions to help organizations digitally transform and become coded enterprises. Our channel partners, AWS, Veracity Solutions, and EBT, help organizations achieve those goals. And today, to achieve our cooking goals, I'd like to introduce Chef Alex Merrick, our instructor.
Yeah, hi, my name is Alex Merrick. I am the culinary director for Feed Me Hospitality. We have 4 restaurants, a catering company, and a food truck. And during the COVID times, we've been doing a lot with healthcare workers, school kids who couldn't get lunches, and teachers as well. So today we're going to show you a couple items to cook.
And the benefit of today's cooking class is that for every one of you attending, we are going to donate $20 to World Central Kitchen to feed people who are hungry during these rough times. And on top of that, you all also get to learn from Chef Merrick how to make the dishes that we're going to make today. So without any further ado, let's just get into making these meals. Chef, can you tell us a little bit about the meals we're going to prepare and why you chose them today?
Yeah, so what I chose today was a pretty simple meal, but it's very Northwest themed. So growing up, my mom always had us go pick berries in the Northwest up here in Washington. And so we have a berry salad to start with. We're doing steak and shrimp. Our flagship restaurant, Salt and Iron, does steak and seafood, so I thought that fit in well. And for dessert, sticking with the berries theme, we're going to do a berries and cream over angel food cake or pound cake.
Awesome. That sounds awesome. Let's get started.
Yeah, let's start cooking. So the first thing we're going to make is we're going to make our salad. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to take our lettuce that we have, and we're going to go ahead and add that to our bowl. And so,
all right. And we are cooking out of my producer's kitchen. My producer, Garth, has been kind enough to let us work out of his kitchen today. So we have this wonderful crock pot that we're going to put our greens into. Chef, how much should I put in here?
For that container, I would just say fill it up about 2/3 of the way with the lettuce. And then one of the tricks that I like to do is I like to just mix the lettuce with the dressing and then add in all the toppings. That way your lettuce gets really mixed in well, and you don't break up your berries or break up your cheese. So I say about 3 ounces of dressing goes for about 5 ounces of lettuce. That's just going to be a nice little drop in there.
Okay.
So you're going to add in your lettuce, and you're just going to mix that around until it's nice and coated. If it needs a little more dressing, go ahead and add it. Let's see where you're at.
I estimated. Is that okay?
That's perfect. That's how I like to cook. I just kind of eyeball most things. So once we have that lettuce in there, we're going to go ahead and add our berries in.
And we're doing half a packet of raspberries. Sorry.
Yep.
I forgot that regular people don't talk about berries the way I do, which is like a 5-year-old. So these are razzleberries.
Razzleberries. I like that. That's good.
Okay, so we're putting half the container in?
Yes, half the container. And we're really lucky. We're up on Whidbey Island filming here. And our friend Josh was gracious enough to give us his kitchen for the weekend. And he actually has a blackberry patch out front. So we got to pick some blackberries there. And we also went and got some fresh local Skagit Valley raspberries and blueberries. So great local ingredients that we really like.
Do you grow any ingredients yourself for your restaurants?
Not for our restaurants, but I did just put in a nice vegetable garden at my house that my sister made.
Ooh,
so
nice.
A bunch of stuff, some squash, some cucumbers, and some fresh herbs.
Ooh, that's awesome. My uncle told me that summer squash, or like zucchini, its common name is like friendship squash, because if you plant squash, you will have so many by the end of the harvest season that like you've given them to all your friends, your neighbors, your like people you don't even like that much.
That's a great way to make some friends, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we got those berries in there. Now we're just gonna add some pistachios.
Okay.
And then we're also gonna add in this Boursin cheese. Now I really like this cheese. It's pretty mild. It's similar to a goat cheese, and it has some herbs and garlic in it. And the best thing about it, the reason I'm using it for the salad is, and you'll see later, it goes really, really good in mashed potatoes. So we can use it in 2 spots, and then that way you're not sitting with leftover cheese, although you can always eat leftover cheese, right?
Yeah, like crackers or your fingers is a good mouth delivery system too.
Yeah. And so we just kind of crumble that up and mix that in, and then yeah, wash your hands.
What's the best method for crumbling soft cheese like this?
I just use my fingers and wash my hands after. So I cut that in half or break it in half, and then kind of just crumble it over the top of the salad.
Okay, and am I supposed to stir the berries in first?
You can just toss the salad as you go. So at the end, you can toss it, or you can toss it now. Just as long as all the ingredients are in there.
All right, let's do this. I'm really good at getting messy, so this is
the fun part.
yeah, it's like Play-Doh. Whee! Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yes. Mm-hmm.
That's it's really good cheese. I really enjoy it.
It is really good and very soft. Messy.
So then the salad is pretty much complete right now. So what we're gonna do next is just serve that to our guests, or we could serve it with dinner on the table and people can add it to their plate as they like.
If I want to serve it to my guests with the rest of dinner, should I put it back in the fridge, or is it okay to kind of like leave it out?
Yeah, we can put it back in the fridge until later.
Could we get a close-up shot of your salad, and then I'll get a close-up shot of my salad, and we'll compare Chef to Jody's? Like, let's just look at mine. And yours looks magical. Mine looks like it'll be
I'm pot full of goodness. That's what that is.
okay. What is next?
So next we're going to start on the entree. And this is where the majority of the work's going to come in. So I think first thing we should do is start cutting some of our potatoes up and our garlic up and all of our vegetables.
Okay.
For our entree, we're going to be making a flat iron steak with sauteed shrimp, garlic mashed potatoes, and roasted asparagus.
Ooh, yum.
And the shrimp will be a nice sauce that we can put on top of the steak as well.
Okay.
So first things first, we're going to make the potatoes because that's going to take the longest to cook, and that's the first thing we should start on. So we have a pot of water here, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut our potatoes and put it straight into the water. So the key to this is that we want to try and get all the potatoes a uniform size. You're going to cut them into about 1/2-inch cubes, and just make sure that whatever size you start cutting, that's the size that all the potatoes are.
Okay. So before I signed up for this project, nobody told me that consistency was going to be important. I'm definitely not a consistent cutter.
So the way that I like to do it, because it is hard to be consistent, is I grab potatoes that are similar sized and I cut them all the same. So if you cut it in half and then in half again, that's going to quarter it. And then those will all be about the same size if you're picking the same size potatoes.
Okay. So just remember to cut it all the same. Okay, so here's what I have the size. Is that like about right?
That looks perfect.
Okay,
That's great. Yep.
all right. So 30 minutes later, I will be done. I finished one. Not to get all marketing about chef software and everything, but one of the things I love about what we do is we enable people like me to be lazy about how they're sort of like implementing their configurations on their system. So it allows you to automate like all of those processes. So I'm curious if you have any processes like in the kitchen that you've automated and like kind of gotten rid of the manual steps along the way?
Oh yeah, definitely. So when we first started out, we were using Excel spreadsheets for everything, and we were making everything up as we went. Um, writing out how everything should be organized. And since then, we've come on with a company that's done all of that work for us, and it has just taken us from a small company to being able to expand to 4 restaurants. So it's been very, very helpful, and it sounds like that's what you guys do with your software.
Yeah, exactly. We try to help organizations that are like configuring laptops or servers, which like for you, I'm sure a server is a very different thing the moment you hear that word.
Yeah,
But
it brings up a lot of good and bad memories.
I bet. I'm almost done.
Potatoes, we're gonna do something a little different. We're gonna add garlic to the water to boil the garlic into the potatoes, and that's gonna give it a little bit more flavor than just adding everything at the end,
Okay.
along with the salt in the water.
You know what? I'm a really big fan of anybody who puts salt in anything. Salt is my salt is one of my best friends.
Awesome.
Good to
So I
go.
put my potatoes into just room temperature or cold water, and then we're gonna add in a couple tablespoons of chopped garlic.
Okay.
So you have garlic cloves there. We're gonna go ahead and peel those.
Okay. And I always get my fingers all sticky and nasty trying to peel them. Do you have any recommendations for a good way to quickly peel garlic?
So I take my knife and I lay it flat on top of the garlic, and I use my palm to kind of press down.
All right.
Yep.
Should it make a popping sound?
Yeah, exactly. So you're going to kind of press it, and then the skin should be able to come off really easily.
Look
And
at
it's
that.
nice and flat, so you can chop it easier too. Doesn't
Oh.
jump around on you.
Oh, so I should actually be kind of crushing it flat?
Yeah,
Oh.
crush it, great.
All right. Oh, I really crushed that one. Okay. Actually, that makes, yeah, you're right. It makes it chopping so much easier. Okay, wait.
Yeah, nice and flat on your cutting board. It doesn't roll around. And so
Trying to
you're
see
just
how,
gonna give it a rough chop. This is just going in your water, so it's not going to be too important to get a consistent size.
okay. I'm good at a rough chop. Like I said earlier, I am not good at consistency. Okay, so I did 2 cloves. Is that enough or should I do more?
Yeah, no, that'll be perfect for the water. We will
Okay.
need to cut some more later for the shrimp, but we can worry about that in a minute.
Okay.
So we got our garlic and we got our potatoes in the water. Now we're just going to add a nice helping of salt. About a tablespoon of salt in there, maybe a little bit more, and that's going to go right into our water. Then we're going to pop our potatoes on the burner and turn it up to high and put the lid on.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so we got our potatoes going. Now these are going to take a while to boil, and once it starts boiling, we'll remove the lid. And what we're looking for is fork tender, or you have a pair of tongs next to you. Just once they start feeling really soft, we're going to go ahead and pull them off. So just to get ready, we're going to also get a colander out and have that in the sink ready to go. So when the potatoes are done, we can go ahead and strain them.
From the back room, I hear, what's a colander?
Strainer works. Also, if you don't have one, you have a lid on your pot. If you have 2 pot holders, you can hold the lid and dump the water out that way. It's a little bit more dangerous, but it definitely does work.
We found it. It's in the living room.
That's where I keep my strainers too.
Right? It makes sense, doesn't it?
It's the right way to go.
Also, for the record, this is a steaming basket.
That works. As long as you can get the water out, you're good to go.
For sure can. Okay.
Okay, so
All
the
right.
potatoes are going to take a while, and that's what's going to hold up the rest of the meal. But while the potatoes are cooking, we can go ahead and start prepping some of the other things. So let's go ahead and just cut the asparagus and get it ready to go in the oven. We're not going to cook it yet, but once the potatoes are almost done, we'll throw those in the oven. So we have asparagus over here, and I usually just leave the rubber band on, actually. And that's going to give me kind of a guide. Right above where the bottom rubber band is, It's about an inch, half an inch up. You're just gonna cut.
All right. 2 bunches.
Yeah. And this is again one of those things, just like the potatoes, depends on how many people you're feeding, right? If you only have a couple people, you might only need 1 bunch. If you're feeding a family of 4, you'll probably want 2 bunches. So once we have those bottoms cut off, we're just gonna take the asparagus and either on the sheet tray you're gonna be using, or baking tray you're gonna be using, or in a bowl, you're just gonna kind of toss the asparagus with a little bit of oil, salt and pepper.
Ta-da! Okay. You said toss it with some oil. Ooh, I'll do it.
And I'm just sprinkling generously with salt and pepper.
Okay.
Give it a light toss. And then one of the other things I like to do with my asparagus and with a lot of my roasted veggies is I add a little bit of butter, because butter's always better, right?
Yes.
So we're gonna go ahead and just cut up a little bit of butter into small cubes and just place it on top of the asparagus.
Okay, butter is back here. And you said how many? Like 4 tablespoons or?
Yeah, you could just do, cut a little knob off, about a half-inch knob, and you're just gonna cut that up into little pieces and set it on top of your asparagus. And so this is what it ends up looking like here, if you can see.
Oh yeah, okay.
And that way, as the asparagus cooks and the oil kind of gets the bottom nice and crispy, that butter's gonna melt over the top and give it some good flavor too. And we'll just set that asparagus aside for later. It's only gonna take 5 to 6 minutes to cook, not too long at all.
Okay, how does this look?
That looks perfect. That's going to be great. And the next thing we're going to get ready is our steak.
Ooh, yum. Okay.
So we're doing a flat iron steak today. It's a nice marbled shoulder cut steak, and I love it. It's tender but still has a little firmness to it. It's pretty inexpensive. It's not too crazy, and it's just a really good flavor. Nice and thick, so you can get a good sear on it and really get it to mid-rare or to medium if you like. I don't tend to go above that, but easy to cook, easy to prepare because it's already pretty clean for you. And all you're going to really need to do is just add salt and pepper to it.
Nice.
It doesn't need much.
Okay, so I bought this at the store and I asked for 16 ounces because I figured for 3 people that's about enough.
Yeah.
But then they just gave me the 16 ounces all together. Yeah. What is the best way to cut this for like a,
lengthwise into thirds so that you have nice even, yep, that way.
Thank you.
Perfect.
So
you'll
like
slice it
yonder
that way, and then we're going to salt and pepper it and let it just sit while those potatoes are cooking still.
Okay. Woo!
That's looking real chefy. How long have you been at chef?
I have been at chef for 5 years almost in October, so I've learned a few things about how to cook meat. No, that's not true. I've learned a lot of things about how to automate stuff.
Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're just going to salt and pepper both sides. So just take a little bit of salt, sprinkle it, and then pepper, and then you're just going to flip it and do the same thing on the other side.
Okay.
Don't be shy with the salt or the pepper. It's always good to hit it a little hard.
Yeah. Well, see, it comes out like really fast there, and then listen, Pepper, we're gonna fight, aren't we?
Okay, so after we do the salt and pepper on the steaks, we're gonna go ahead and clean our shrimp. So I got shrimp, and I took the tails off, I deveined them and cleaned them, but it looks like you have whole shrimp, so we're gonna go ahead and clean those, right?
Mm-hmm. I think they were deveined when we got them, but yes.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. Like they were the easy peel kind. So they already had all the
Perfect.
intestines ripped out of them. But yeah, here's what we have. Do we think we need to?
That looks great.
Okay.
Okay, so we have our steak, we have our shrimp. We're gonna go ahead and get the liquid together for the mashed potatoes now.
Ooh.
So for that, you can never do too much butter. So I do 8 tablespoons of butter, which is 1 stick. And I throw that in the pot. And then I'm gonna also do the rest of that Boursin cheese from earlier.
Yum.
And that has great garlic and herbs in it. So it's really gonna season that liquid well.
All right. Where'd it go? There. So just the butter and the cheese?
Yep, and then we're gonna go ahead and add in cream.
Behind me. All right. We got the cream in the wonderful glass containers because it looks fancy.
So you only need about a cup, maybe a little bit more than a cup of cream. Not too much. And then we're gonna go ahead and add in salt. And this is where you wanna be a little heavy on the salt. So maybe about a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of salt.
Okay.
I'm also gonna add in a little bit of pepper.
Ooh, look at this. This is how you know it's good whipping cream because there's.
Oh, and it has that nice little cap on the top, right?
Huh?
That's the best.
Glorious. Woo.
And once we have all that stuff added, we're just gonna turn our burner on the lowest setting it can go. All we're trying to do here is melt the butter and the cheese in.
That looks like about half.
And it's pretty forgiving. If you don't have enough liquid at the end, you can always just add a little bit more cream to the mashed potatoes. But that should be plenty.
Okay. And what should I put this on? Medium, you said?
Low. I just put it all the way to low. The potatoes still have a while until they're going to be cooked. So
Okay.
that just needs to have the butter melt.
All right.
And so I like to add all of my seasoning into that liquid because when you're mashing the potatoes, if you're throwing salt and pepper onto the potatoes, they don't really soak up as much of that salt and pepper. But the liquid mixes in really, really well with those potatoes.
I can
So I find
already smell the garlic like boiling
Get
in
this
there.
extra salty. Oh yeah, you don't need to put a lid on that. That's okay.
All right. Okay.
So now that we have the liquid going for the mashed potatoes are working. We have our steak ready to be seared off, and we have our asparagus ready and our shrimp. We're gonna go ahead and get a little bit more chopping done. I know you don't love that, but it won't be too much. So we're gonna cut a whole onion up.
Ooh. Onions are my favorite. I have amazing sinuses. So whenever I cut onions, I'm definitely that person who's like bawling in the background, like,
Oh no. Well, I hope we don't make you cry too much today.
Okay, do you have any
Okay,
tips?
so yeah, let's talk about the onion. So the top and the bottom, we're gonna cut those off.
Okay.
So I cut the top and the bottom of the onion off, and then we're gonna cut it in half. Oh, there you go. You've definitely done this before.
Okay. And then in half, you say?
Yep.
All right.
Perfect. Then we're just going to take that outer layer off, that peel off. And so half this onion is going to be for our steak, and half of it's going to be for our shrimp. And so for the steak, we're just going to cut it really big. So we're just going to cut it in half against those ribbons of the onion, and then we're just going to cut it into thirds the other way. Just big chunks of onion. Perfect. Looks great. So we'll set that aside for our steak. And then for the shrimp, we're going to want to cut it a little bit smaller. So what I recommend doing is just cutting, again, the same way we did before, against those ribbons, and then turning it and cutting it fine.
Okay. Did you say 5 or finely?
Finely.
Oh, whoops.
Sorry about that. Okay, so we got our onions cut. Now we're just going to do a little more garlic. to go in the shrimp.
And how many cloves are we doing?
I would say about 3 or 4.
Okay.
And while you're peeling them, maybe peel a couple extra for the steak as well.
Ooh. Don't mind if I do.
So are you a big fan of garlic?
I am a very big fan of garlic, yes.
What is your favorite thing to put garlic in?
Ooh, the first dish that I ever really learned how to cook as a youngin was garlic mashed potatoes, actually.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, so garlic mashed potatoes is my favorite. But
how's this recipe holding up to your garlic mashed potatoes so far?
well, I never added Boursin cheese, so it's holding up real good.
Now, you used to have a cooking blog, right?
Oh gosh, yes, I did. Before I ever started at Chef, the software company, I was really interested in cooking, and I had a cooking blog that was all about my mishaps in the kitchen. So, I had one time I tried to make raspberry filled donuts, and oh man, it was a painstaking recipe. I had to raise the dough for the donuts a certain way, and stuff I've never done before. I get all the way through everything, and I'm on the last step, which is the frickin' raspberry filling. I make the whole raspberry filling. It's the best thing I've ever made. And then I'm going to transfer from the stove to where to cool or whatever. And I hit something with the pot, and the whole raspberry filling just splatters all over my kitchen.
Oh, no.
So yeah, I used
Were
to
you
have
able to
a
salvage
lot.
anything at least? Did you get some?
Yeah, there was maybe a quarter of a cup of filling left after I cleaned everything off the walls. So there was 1 or 2 raspberry filled donuts, but that was it.
That sounds very familiar to the Office with Kevin dropping a whole pot of chili.
Yes, exactly. Ooh, also, my potatoes are boiling now. Should I?
Mine just started as well. So
Okay.
we're looking at good timing right now.
Nice.
Those are probably still need a little bit of time, but this is a good time to check them once we're done with that garlic.
All right.
Just going to take a pair of tongs, and they're still going to be pretty hard potatoes, I believe. So we're still going to have a good 10, 15 minutes on them.
They're definitely roiling.
Nice.
Woo! Okay, garlic is done, I think.
Awesome. So before we cut that, let's go ahead and just turn our cast iron skillet on high. And we're just going to let that warm up for a little bit. That's what we're going to be searing our steak in. So we just want that to get nice and hot. And the great thing about cast iron is that it holds heat better than most of your other pans. So that'll actually get hotter than any pan you can get.
Ooh, okay.
We're going to get going on our shrimp soon too. So we are moving right along. How'd those potatoes feel? Did you try them out?
Oh, I didn't. Where's
We got a pair of tongs there, I think. Yep.
Oh, yeah. That's smarter because the fork is a lot shorter.
And then you just kind of check them.
Oh, yeah, they're still a little hard.
Yeah, they're going to need a little longer.
Okay.
So that cast iron's heating up. We can also start heating up our other pan for our shrimp.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, and then for the shrimp, it's like a
You're hauling it in.
ready.
Ready to go.
What temperature is this one on high as well?
Yeah, so we're going to do this one on high. And then what we're going to be doing is we definitely need to get some oil and get our shrimp ready. And we're going to chop up a little bit of that garlic before we do any of that. So if you want to just grab a couple cloves of that garlic and just give it a nice little rough chop.
Grab the already rough ones.
Yeah, there we go. That's a good amount.
Okay.
Perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of canola oil into that shrimp pan. And canola oil has a little bit of a higher smoking point, so it's not going to burn as quickly as, say, olive oil. But olive oil is totally fine if you don't have any.
I brought avocado oil.
That's got a high burning temperature too, so that's perfect.
Okay.
So we're
And
gonna add a
we're
little bit
gonna-
of that to the pan, about a tablespoon.
Okay. Not really sure what a tablespoon
Give
is.
that oil a little swirl in the pan. There we go. Looks good to me.
I feel like I could go to battle with this pan. Like, it would be a good shield.
So then we're gonna go ahead and add our shrimp in
Okay.
and our onions.
Ooh, all right.
And these are gonna be the finer diced onions in with the shrimp. Yep, go ahead and just throw them on in.
Ooh, mine didn't make a. They didn't really sizzle like yours did. And you said the onions?
Yep. And we're just gonna cook that for a couple minutes to get a little bit of color on those shrimp. Give them a nice little toss in the pan. And then, yeah, you can go ahead and just stir them around a little bit. And let's just let that cook for a minute. Now, here's the best part of the day. We got to open up a bottle of wine now.
Ooh, I can do that. Yes.
So we're going to use a little bit of white wine. And I'm using a Chardonnay, but you can use any white wine you have hanging around. And the best part about it is if you're cooking with wine, it means you're going to be drinking wine, right?
That is the best part. Let me make sure my glass is ready for this portion. There we go. All right. I'm ready with my wine as ever.
Perfect. And then you're just going to stir your liquid in the back just to make sure that's moving around. The mashed potato liquid, make sure that's melting.
It's really slowly melting. Is that okay?
We don't need it to go any faster.
Okay.
So my shrimp are starting to get a little bit of color. I don't know if you can see on your screen how they look.
Yeah, they're a little red.
But once they get a little bit of color, we're going to add our wine, and then we're going to add our garlic with the wine.
Okay.
So
My cast iron is kind of smoking. Should I add a little oil to it?
perfect. That means that it's ready for the steak. So let's just drizzle a little oil on top of your steaks.
Ooh. Okay. Oh. Okay. Let's scooch this to the side. Here we go. Oop. Excuse me. Great. And you said drizzle oil on the steak?
Yeah, I do a little on the steak. Then we're just going to put the oil side straight down into the pan.
One-handed.
We're going to let that sear for a minute.
Okay. Here we go.
Okay, so you're getting that steak going. That's perfect. Awesome. So we'll let that go for a minute. It's going to smoke up a little bit.
Yeah, it is.
Now we're going to go ahead and add our garlic into the shrimp.
Okay. Oh, and you said, wine as well?
Yep, and then the wine.
I never forget the wine part, just so you know.
That's great.
Okay. I added it to my glass first because that's the important
Can
measurement.
we cheers that?
Yeah.
Let's have a nice sip together. Cheers.
Ooh,
Oh,
I
that's
approve.
nice.
Yeah.
Now we're just going to let that cook down until that wine reduces nice and low.
Okay.
At this point, we're going to go ahead and flip our steaks and see. Oh, might need a little bit longer, it looks like. You just got to get it.
That one looks good.
And then we can turn that temperature down once you flip it to about medium-high heat.
Okay. Yeah. That feels great.
Now those big onions you have cut, we're going to throw those in with the steak. And then throw in a couple cloves of those garlic. This whole,
Couple for 5.
yeah, that's 5's great. And then you're going to go ahead and add about half a stick of butter.
Oh yeah, I can do that real easy. Butter is my life. Is too much butter gonna make it bad?
Too much butter is not a thing.
And okay.
Now in mine, I'm going to add in some fresh herbs. It's optional in the recipe, but I'm throwing in some thyme and some rosemary. That's going to give it a little more herb flavor in with the steak.
Ooh, turmeric.
For what are you looking for?
Rosemary or
Oh, yeah.
herbs such as that. Oh, sorry, I was looking in the wrong place. We have fresh rosemary today.
Oh, nice. How's that shrimp doing? Is the liquid starting to cook down a little?
It is, yeah, a little bit.
Okay, now I believe we have a lemon, right? We're going to cut that in half.
Lemon?
And I like to, before I cut it, I roll it on the countertop a little bit with the palm of my hand and press. And that's going to give it, soften it up a little bit so you can get some more of that juice out. Then we're just going to cut that in half.
Roll in.
And we're going to add a little bit of lemon juice into our shrimp.
Okay.
Being careful to keep those seeds out too. The lemon's just going to brighten it up a little bit. So it's just going to give it a little bit of a nicer flavor, and it pairs really well with that wine.
All right, after a vigorous lemoning, smelling good.
How are those potatoes looking?
Ooh, let us give them a little. Oh yeah, they are tender and divided when I stuck a fork through it.
Perfect. So let's go ahead and strain those now.
Okay. Rear off. Let me get this.
Awesome. So we're pulling those potatoes off. Mine still need a bit longer, but that's okay.
Woo! Oh yeah. It's like you're making a meal, but you're also getting like a steam facial, which is wonderful.
Nice steam bath, right?
Really opens up my pores, you know?
Nothing says steam bath like garlic.
Right? Are the potatoes going back in the pot eventually?
That's where I usually mash my potatoes, is back in the
Okay.
pot. We'll just pop those back in.
Dump those. All right.
Okay, so our shrimp, I think, is going to be pretty much done. We're just going to turn the heat down and add a little knob of butter, about a quarter of a stick of butter, maybe half a stick.
I can definitely put half a stick of butter in the shrimp.
So this is the restaurant secret, the butter, right?
Oh yeah, do I need to do anything with the steak?
So with the steak, is that butter nice and melted now?
Yeah, it is.
So what I would do is just take that big metal spoon you got, and you're going to just ladle a little bit of the butter up on top of all the steaks. Awesome. Okay, so steaks are almost done, so we can go ahead and just turn the heat off on those. And it looks like your shrimp's almost done. You got the butter in there. Turn the heat off of that. And now we're going to add our asparagus into the oven.
Okay.
Now, depending on how well you like your steak cooked, you could pop that in the oven as well. I like mine mid-rare, which is about 125 degrees in the center. But I kind of do a little test and I look for a little bit of spring back on the steak. Give it a little finger test. I'm just going to go drain my mashed potatoes real quick. Be right back.
Woo! Oh my God. Oh, that is fiery.
Doing all right over there?
Whoa. Yeah.
That oven's
so
hot?
we were preheating that oven for so long that it started to clean itself.
Okay, so now our asparagus is in the oven. We're going to start mashing our potatoes, and they should be pretty soft. So you can just use a wooden spoon or your tongs, whatever you got. And we're going to mash it before we add any of that liquid in. Okay. Trying to get a nice semi-smooth paste. I like a little bit of lumps in there, but not too much.
Okay.
Once it's kind of mashed a little bit, we're going to go ahead and just add in a little bit of our liquid. And I like to do about half to start and then a little bit more just as it's needed.
Okay.
As you're mashing, you're just going to keep adding in the liquid until it gets to about the consistency you like.
Okay.
Some people like them a little looser. Some people like them a little thicker. Kind of your preference on that.
I'm just like I love butter. I don't know if have I said that yet, that I love butter, because I really, really love butter. Yeah, there's still some chunks in there. That's a lot more liquid.
And my steaks are taking a little longer to cook, so I'm going to go ahead and pop those in the oven just for a couple minutes with that asparagus.
Nice. Okay.
How are those potatoes looking?
I think they're still pretty lumpy, but like not in a necessarily bad way.
Well, that's good. So I suggest you grab a spoon out and just give them a little taste real quick.
Oh, that's a really good idea. Oh,
I think she needs a second opinion.
yeah, I definitely need a second opinion, so. Yeah. What do you think? Does it need the rest of the liquid? Maybe.
Oh, is it still a little dry, or does it need more salt?
I don't think it needs more salt, like, and that's the only time you'll ever hear me say that in my life. I always think it needs more salt, but I think it's maybe a little dry.
Oh yeah, so you can add a little more liquid, and if there's no more liquid, you can just add some more heavy cream.
Go for it. Put that all of it in there. There we go. All right. So earlier you asked me what my favorite dish to add garlic to is. What is your favorite dish to add garlic to?
Every dish. I love garlic bread is just one of those things that you just have from a little kid till you're an adult, and you just always love it, right?
Yeah.
That's usually my go-to for garlic. Also, just roasting whole cloves of garlic in the oven in a little bit of oil and foil makes the whole house smell great, and you can use it for so much.
Have you ever heard of a restaurant that's I think it's a chain in California called The Stinking Rose? Oh boy.
Garlic?
Okay. The Stinking Rose is a restaurant that's every dish they serve has garlic in it somehow, including the desserts.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Oh, if you like garlic, this is the restaurant for you. It's so good.
Okay, that asparagus should be just about done now.
Ooh.
So I just take that out and just give it a little check to see the firmness on it. And it should feel just a little bit soft with a little bit of crispness to it still.
Woo. I forgot again already. Okay, a little soft, but also crisp. Okay.
If you can see mine here, it's got a nice color to it still, nice and green. And it's still got a little bit of a snap to it.
Oh, okay. Well, then mine might be ready then, because it's definitely snappy. Let's take it out. Let's do it. Okay. This time I'm not going to put my face right in the oven as I open it. Okay. Woo! That's hot. Okay. Whew.
Okay, dinner's ready.
I wasn't, just to make sure, I wasn't supposed to flip the shrimp at all, right?
Nope. Is it cooked all the way? It looks nice and pink throughout.
Yes, definitely pink.
Awesome.
Cooked through. Okay,
Cool. I'm
cool.
pulling my steak off now. Yeah, we can just do one person's plate just so that people can see what it looks like.
Beautiful. Look at this beautiful plate. Comes to you, I feel like a QVC presenter now. You too can own these plates for just
I like the plates.
$9.99.
This is the plates I'm working with. Josh has very good taste, and I really enjoy these plates. They got a nice little lip on them. So we're just gonna do a nice little scoop of mashed potatoes.
Look at how beautiful those mashed potatoes are.
And then I like to put the asparagus a little bit on top of the mashed potatoes. Put the steak down, and then we're gonna do the shrimp with the sauce on top as a garnish.
Okay. So scoop some of these. Oh yeah, I should definitely go into food photography. We'll do this little one here.
And then I finish with a little bit of the sauce from the shrimp on top of the steak and the shrimp.
We sauce it.
So my garnish that I'm using is thyme, and I just kind of pull some straight off the stem and put it up on top. But you don't really need it. It's just a little bit of extra flavor and some color.
Here we go. We got our steak, our shrimp, our mashed potatoes, our asparagus. Oh, I forgot the salad.
Yeah, don't forget you gotta leave a little room for salad, right?
Yeah. Okay. Where? We don't. Yeah. This guy. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Here we go. Allison, you have to taste test everything because I'm not going to be able to give myself a critical review. Okay, Garth, come
Wanted
on.
to make sure everyone got to eat while the food was still hot, right?
Yeah. Come eat this.
And don't forget, we also have this wine we got to keep drinking, right? Well, you don't have to, but I'm enjoying it.
All right, so we have made and also consumed most of what we made before the dinner. Now it's time to move on to my favorite part, which is the dessert. So yeah, can you kick us off, Chef?
Yeah, of course. So we're just going to finish up those berries we started off the first course with by just adding them to a bowl. So we'll just dump those berries into a bowl. And I really like this just any night of the week, just berries or fruit, a little fresh whipped cream, and we're going to do angel food cake, or you could do pound cake, or you could just skip the cake and just do the berries and cream. It's up to you.
Ooh, yum.
We found some really good looking plums and peaches, so we're going to cut those up and add it to this fruit bowl as well. And then all we're going to do is top it with a little bit of sugar and let it sit for a minute while we make our whipped cream.
Now, for the peach and the nectarine, should I be cutting them like little cubes?
Yeah, any way you think is going to be the best for you to eat them later. I usually cut them into slices and then cut those slices into little cubes, just like you're saying. And what we're doing by adding sugar to it is just macerating these berries in this fruit. It's just giving a little extra sweetness to the already sweet fruit.
All right.
Summertime is perfect for ripe fruit, so anything you can find that looks good works for this.
This bowl might not be big enough for what we're trying to accomplish. Oh well. Okay.
And I usually add about an eighth of a cup, just a couple tablespoons of sugar.
Okay.
And then give the berries and the fruit just a little bit of a toss so they're kind of coated in that sugar.
We're gonna measure very accurately here, okay?
Very important you don't add even an extra grain of sugar.
We got one.
Just kidding. That looks perfect.
Okay, so I added my sugar and all my fruits. Whee!
Now in that other bowl, we're gonna go ahead and start the whipped cream.
Oh, I put it in the freezer.
Oh, that's right.
That's why.
Whoopsie daisy.
I thought I was being clever. Since we're working with whipping cream,
Really cooled it down. That's smart. Nothing wrong with that. So for the whipped cream, we're just going to add a 1/4 cup of sugar to a bowl
okay.
and 2 cups of the heavy cream. Oh, that's totally fine. That's enough sugar.
Hey,
The thing is who complains that their whipped cream's too sweet?
right.
So then we're going to go ahead and add just a little bit of vanilla, about a tablespoon.
Okay. Where was?
A light tablespoon. That's good. And then I'm using a little egg beater, but you can do this in a KitchenAid. You could do it with a whisk by hand, but I don't recommend that. You could do it with an immersion blender, or it looks like you guys have a little stick blender you're using, right?
I got this awesome Cuisinart, which I think should be pronounced Cuisinart.
That looks awesome. So we're just going to do this on low to start so we don't get the cream everywhere.
Okay.
And as it starts to thicken up, you can speed it up faster.
Okay.
And we're just looking for stiff peaks.
Stiff peaks. Okay. It's definitely already getting places. Oh yeah. Woo!
How's yours coming along?
It's like, it's got some form, but it's not stiff for sure.
Same with mine. It's starting to get there. Takes a little bit of time.
It's also definitely splattering all over my arms.
Well, if you wanted to, you could always put a kitchen towel over the top of it to prevent extra cream from spilling out.
Oh yeah, that's smart. I'm sure Garth would love if I did that, but I'm not going to. Woo! Whew. Should wear safety goggles when you're making whipped cream.
Takes a little longer than you think, huh?
What?
Takes a little bit of time, but we're almost there.
I'm definitely contemplating my life choices as I make this whipped cream. Oh, right in the eye. Oh, right in the center of my eyeball.
How's yours looking?
It's starting to get there, I think.
Starting to get there?
Yeah. I'm definitely making a mess, too. I feel like I'm making butter now. What?
And mine's looking good.
Mine.
Is yours coming along?
It's looking a little bit like more like butter than whipped cream.
Can you pull it up and does it stay up at all?
No. The milk fat is separating from the milk.
Oh, did you use heavy whipping cream?
Yeah.
Mine looks like this.
Maybe we can, yeah. No, it looks like frosting.
Huh. Oh, wow, that's runny.
It feels like it's turning into butter for sure. Maybe I whipped it too much.
That could be it. I've never over whipped it, but
Here, got close up since I took the other camera away.
yeah,
Look,
that's weird. Maybe it could have been over whipped. I don't think that thing usually should over whip it though.
it might be better if you wear long sleeves when you're making this. I don't know if you could see all the wonderful.
Oh yeah. But here's how ours came out looking.
Oh, it almost looks like a real chef made that. I just love it when whipped cream makes that chunky dropping noise as you put it onto your food. Garth, that one's for you.
I'll take the blame for this one. I'm not sure what happened, but
How are you going to take the blame? You're like, you're far away from here. This is definitely not your fault. But I will say this has been so much fun learning with you today, Chef Merrick. And I want to thank everybody who's joined us today. And I hope you enjoy your delicious meals that you've cooked up. I hope your whipped cream turned out a little bit better than mine. And I hope you feel awesome knowing that your presence here has actually helped a lot of other families enjoy a much needed meal. I want to thank Chef Merrick personally for leading me through this culinary adventure, and the Feed Me Hospitality and Restaurant Group as well, and our sponsors, AWS, Veracity Solutions, and EBT. If you would like to donate directly to World Central Kitchen as well, you can go to wck.org and donate directly to World Central Kitchen. So yeah, I hope you enjoy the rest of your meal. Thank you again for joining us. Bon appetit y que te aproveche.